Hey guys, welcome to Susie on the Farm. If you're new here, I'm Susie and I'm in my store here in Cullman, Alabama. Here on YouTube, I love to go thrift store shopping. I love to save those ugly thrift store finds, inexpensive ugly thrift store finds, and I love to upcycle them using all the products that I sell here in the store and online. And in today's video, you're getting some more thrift store makeovers. Now these are kind of all over the place. I'm doing some fall, some Christmas, and some every day. So there's something for everyone. Let's go ahead and get started. So I have a pretty big collection of amber jars and bottles. I just love them. I think they're super vintage and cool. And I have these two that are really great shape. And recently I have become obsessed with putting the gilded gold transfers onto my amber bottles and jars. Now, no skill is needed for these. They're very, very easy. No skill or strength or anything like that, but you do need a lot of patience. That's the main thing with these. You have to rub easy and you have to go over every little single piece of these gold gilded transfers. Unfortunately, I'm a bit lacking in the patience department. So if I can do this, I know that you can too. I did eventually get both of these. These are from the new, maybe one's from Tinsel, but definitely this figgy pudding one is from the new Figgy and Flourish, I think, transfer book that is available on susieonthefarm.com. I think these gold transfers just give these such a rich look, and I love styling 2 or 3 of them together, like here in this little vignette. I picked up this little handmade wooden beadboard plaque type thing, and it just caught my attention. I think I only paid like 75 cents for it. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut off this yarn. I can see where they were going with that. You would stick something in the yarn. It was quite cute, but what I loved about it was the tone of the wood and of course the beadboard. So I'm going to start with giving this just like a dry brush coat. I believe this is cashmere. This is a Fusion all-in-one paint. Fusion has a built-in sealer, goes on super smooth, and most of the time you get full coverage with 2 coats. For this one, I was not going for a full coverage. I did a light coat and I even sanded the edges, and now I have decided I'm no longer hoarding transfers. So this is from Kitschy Christmas. Not available anymore, completely sold out. If you find one, it's probably going to be super expensive, but I have a bunch of transfers left from it. So I'm putting this little wreath and bells onto this little beadboard plaque, and then I'm just going to seal the transfer up with some Big Top, or I think I have liquid patina right there. So I'll just go ahead and seal it up. Like I said, the Fusion paint does not need to be sealed, but it is a good idea to seal over your transfers when you can. Now we have a cute little kitschy wall hanger, and also this was probably about 5 by 6, which would also be perfect if you do large ornaments on your tree. You could hang this right on a tree. Project number 3 is another super simple transfer project. Y'all, please don't come at me for just sticking transfers on things through a lot of this video. I get something in my head and I just do it, and I decided to use up my transfers. And so I'm just going through finding everything I can to put these on. So this is from the Home Sweet Home transfer book from the last release. Again, it is sold out right now, but they are expected to be in soon if you weren't able to get your hands on one back a few months ago. But I had this glass jar. It didn't have a lid, and for some reason I thought it would be perfect for that treats because I couldn't think of anything else to put it on, and it absolutely was. I did the stars. One thing about the IOD transfers is when you put them on glass, well, two things actually. When you put them on glass, make sure they're right where you want them before you lay it down because it's going to stick immediately. And number two, be sure you burnish it after you get it completely on. I like to use my fingers on glass, just make sure all those edges are down smooth. I recently picked up these two little silver plate, I think they're coasters. I thought they would make really cute ornaments, and I've been seeing a lot of people doing painting the big silver trays, so I figured why can't we do this with these little ones. So I am using White Swan, and this is a DIY clay-based paint. DIY paints are highly pigmented, easy to work with. They do need to be sealed, so I'm carefully putting on 2 coats of this White Swan, and I am leaving the little silver rim on both of these coasters. And back to that kitschy Christmas transfer book, these are made probably for ornaments, which I think is a great idea for these little coasters anyway. I did pull up a little bit of paint. Pro tip, if you're going to paint silver, do some Salvation solution first so this doesn't happen, or spray some shellac. I didn't have time to do either. Nobody got time for that. So no problem. I'm just going to touch up there where I pulled up a little bit of that paint, and then I sealed over these with Big Top. I think I will hot glue some red velvet ribbon on the back so these can hang on a Christmas tree. Pick up these little coffee creamers or canisters or anything that's this glossy white, and this one was the perfect size, perfect shape, and I had this cute little teacup left from the Home Sweet Home. I love the sepia colors of it, and I actually have an entire collection where I put these on, and they're all still available on SusieOnTheFarm.com if you want to get the whole thing. These enamel mugs are so cute, and that little plate. So I just styled them all together with my new little creamer, which I know is going to go really fast. Finally have a project that isn't using a transfer. I always pick up these old frames. These are the ones that have that backing like stapled in there, and they're always wood. This one was a great size, probably about 11 by 14. Again, love that tone of the wood. My favorite thing to do with that is paint and distress. But first I am going to use Fusion in the color casement. I'm not even going to bother unstapling that and having to staple it back in. I'm just going to paint the entire center with 2 coats of casement. And then I'm using Fusion in the color Bellwood. This is a beautiful, soft sage green. I use it all the time. And I'm going to paint that wood frame with, I only had to do 1 coat of this Bellwood, and it had perfect coverage over this wood frame. Now for a little background, I am using the Iron Orchid Designs Waltz stamp, and I'm using Stone Gray ink. Stone Gray is not very dark. It's a really light, easy to use for a background image. And I am just placing it on the white. I did wipe off any ink that I got on that side part so it would not get on the side of my frame and get in that Bellwood paint. But if it had, no big deal. Just get a paintbrush, do a little swipe over it, and you're good. Now the waltz stamp is actually 4 pieces. You can use it all together like I just did, but then I had to take another music line off the bottom to do a little bit more on the bottom and fill that in. Now I have this is actually the last one that I have of the heirloom or the stacked heirloom pumpkins, the recycled decoupage paper. And I love them. I love these are my favorite fall colors that Lexi did in these pumpkins. And since I am going to be decoupaging them over the top of that stamped image, I did go ahead and paint the backs of my paper white. That just keeps those darker images from coming through my decoupage paper. Once the paint has dried, I fussy cut all my little pumpkins out, and I am going to stack them. So I'm starting with the bottom one. I'm using Fusion decoupage and transfer gel, and I'm going to put a little bit down, and then I will lay my pumpkin into it and use my brush to smooth out any wrinkles. Now, anytime I do initially paint the back of my decoupage paper, I seem to always have a few little wrinkles. There are ways to avoid that. You can iron them out before you decoupage them down. You can use the iron-on method to decoupage. But for these pumpkins, I decided I was perfectly fine with a few wrinkles and some textures, because who's ever seen a pumpkin that doesn't have texture or is completely smooth? So I just continue stacking these all the way up. I also did in my live yesterday morning, I used a couple more of these pumpkins on some cutting boards, and I did end up using some floral transfers around them. I'll stick a picture in here to show y'all that. I decided not to put any on this, so I went ahead and sealed up the entire thing, one more coat with that Fusion decoupage and transfer gel, and now I'm distressing that bell wood to bring back a lot of that natural wood from underneath in this frame. And I think this turned out to be my favorite project of today. Y'all let me know in the comments which was your favorite. Which one did you love the most? Give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you'd like to see more of here on Susie on the Farm. And I appreciate you guys so much. All the paint and product is available at susieonthefarm.com. I do fast shipping, and I love to get your orders out right away as long as I am able. So thank you so much for watching, for all your support. I appreciate y'all so much, and I will see you next Wednesday.